Imagine you are standing on the battlefield, surrounded by rolling hills and dense forests. The air is thick with tension as the distant sound of artillery echoes across the landscape. Suddenly, a massive vehicle appears on the horizon, its turret turning with a quiet, mechanical hum. This is no ordinary tank. This is the 2S1 Gvozdika, one of the most iconic self-propelled howitzers of the Cold War era. But what makes this machine so remarkable? How did it change the way armies fought? Stay tuned as we unravel the story of the 2S1 Gvozdika, a vehicle that shaped the fate of many soldiers and nations during one of the most tense periods in history. The 2S1 Gvozdika, known in English as the Carnation, was a Soviet masterpiece of military engineering. Developed in the late 1960s, this self-propelled howitzer entered service in the early 1970s and quickly became one of the most recognizable pieces of artillery in the Soviet arsenal. But its story began long before that, during the intense years of the Cold War, a period defined by a relentless arms race between the East and West. The Gvozdika was designed to fill a very specific role. It was to be a fast, mobile artillery piece that could provide close support to advancing Soviet troops, especially during armored assaults. What made the 2S1 unique was its ability to move quickly across the battlefield, fire powerful 122mm shells, and then retreat before enemy forces could react. It was like a ghost, appearing out of nowhere and vanishing just as quickly. But the design of this weapon wasn't a sudden stroke of genius. It was born from lessons learned during the brutal battles of World War II. The Soviet army had fought the Germans for years, learning invaluable lessons from the tactics and technologies of their enemies. The 2S1 Gvozdika was a product of those lessons. It was a blend of proven technology, including the tracked chassis of the MTLB multi-role vehicle, which had seen success in numerous roles. By adding a fully rotating turret armed with a powerful 122mm gun, the Soviets had created a versatile, reliable, and deadly artillery system. The Gvozdika's design was deceptively simple but extremely effective. Its long, flat hull was designed for one thing: mobility. The turret, a compact and low-profile structure, was welded to the top, allowing for better concealment on the battlefield. It was this sleek design that made the 2S1 difficult to spot by enemy forces. The turret, capable of rotating a full 360 degrees, was operated by 3 crew members: the commander, the loader, and the gunner, while the driver controlled the vehicle's movement from a position at the front left of the hull. But perhaps the most impressive feature of the 2S1 was its amphibious capability. Unlike most other artillery pieces, the Gvozdika could traverse rivers and lakes without any special preparations. It could simply drive into the water, and its tracks would propel it across, making it a formidable presence in diverse terrains. This feature was especially important in the Soviet Union's vast and varied landscape, where rivers and lakes were often obstacles to troop movements. The 2S1's firepower was equally remarkable. Fitted with a 122mm double-baffled main gun, the Gvozdika could deliver devastating firepower at long ranges, up to 15 kilometers with standard rounds and 22 kilometers when using rocket-assisted shells. The Gvozdika could fire a variety of munitions, from high-explosive rounds to armor-piercing shells, and even chemical warheads in times of extreme necessity. This versatility made the Gvozdika an invaluable asset for Soviet forces, allowing them to adapt to any situation on the battlefield. But it wasn't just about how far the Gvozdika could shoot, it was also about how quickly it could fire. A well-trained crew could fire up to 5 shells per minute, though the sustained rate was around 2 shells per minute. This allowed the Gvozdika to support troops and armor in real time, providing a continuous barrage of heavy artillery when needed most. One of the most notable features of the 2S1 was its ability to be operated under nuclear, biological, and chemical (NBC) threats. The Cold War was a time of constant fear, and both the Soviets and their adversaries prepared for the worst. The 2S1 was designed to protect its crew from these threats, ensuring that it could continue to operate even in the harshest conditions. In addition to NBC protection, the 2S1 was equipped with infrared night vision for the driver and commander, making it effective in both daylight and at night. Mobility was another key factor. Powered by a YAMZ 238N diesel engine, the 2S1 could reach speeds of up to 37 miles per hour and had a range of approximately 310 miles. This gave it the ability to quickly relocate across the battlefield, ensuring it was always where it was needed most. The adjustable suspension system and 7-road wheel configuration allowed the Gvozdika to handle rough terrain with ease, making it an all-terrain vehicle capable of navigating mountains, forests, and fields. Beyond its core design, the 2S1 was also adapted for other purposes. While primarily an artillery piece, the Gvozdika chassis was used to create mine-clearing vehicles and chemical reconnaissance platforms. This ability to adapt the basic design for different battlefield needs made the 2S1 even more valuable to Soviet and Allied forces. And despite the end of the Cold War and the dissolution of the Soviet Union, the 2S1 Gvozdika continued to serve in many countries. Nations like Ukraine, Poland, Bulgaria, and India kept these vehicles in service for decades after the Soviet Union's fall. Even today, some of these vehicles are still operational in certain parts of the world. The Gvozdika's legacy endures, a testament to its versatility, reliability, and power. So, what happened to the 2S1 in Soviet service? As the years passed, the Red Army began to phase out the Gvozdika in favor of more modern artillery systems, like the 2S9 and 2S19. By 2007, the Soviet Union had largely retired the Gvozdika from active duty, though many other countries continued to operate it for years. Some even kept the vehicle in reserve or transferred it to successor states. This marked the end of an era, but the Gvozdika's place in military history was secure. In the end, the 2S1 Gvozdika was much more than just a weapon. It was a symbol of Soviet ingenuity, a product of the Cold War that had an impact far beyond the battlefield. For those who operated it, the Gvozdika was a lifeline, a machine that could deliver devastating firepower while offering mobility, protection, and versatility. For those who faced it, it was a terrifying reminder of the power of the Soviet military. And so, the story of the 2S1 Gvozdika reminds us of the importance of military innovation during times of conflict. It wasn't just about the weapons themselves, it was about how these tools of war shaped the strategies, tactics, and ultimately the outcomes of the Cold War. The Gvozdika was a key player in that story, and its legacy still lives on today. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the 2S1 Gvozdika and its impact on military history, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and leave a comment below. We'd love to hear your thoughts and any questions you might have about this fascinating piece of military technology. Your support helps us bring more exciting stories like this to life. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.